From cold avoidance to insect fighting?
It's time for Teatime Tales. This week we're back in Gen 1 and throwing our hats into the ring to see what makes this Pokemon tick. Our table talk guest this week is Pinsir! Now don't go scurrying away just yet. I know what you're probably thinking. Hatter, if I wanted to look at insects, I'd go and watch the Bugs Life movie. But don't count out our stag-headed friends so soon, there's a mountain of lore to uncover here. Let's begin, of course, with the name breakdown.
Pinsir is likely a corruption of the word pincer, referring to a tool with two curved metal arms, pivoted together to grip, pull, or cut objects.
His names in other languages offer equally fascinating origins. Take his Japanese name, Kalios. It's believed to be a combination of the Greek letter Kai, representing the X shape of his iconic horns, and Korios, the Greek word for bug. A rather scholarly translation for such a brawny fellow, wouldn't you say?
Pinsir is likely modelled after the Prosopocoilus inclinatus, more commonly known as the Japanese stag beetle. These formidable insects are found throughout Japan and the Korean peninsula, and they are very famous for their aggressive tempers and exceedingly impressive mandibles. Pinsir's Pokédex entries are also exceedingly detailed as well, especially the parts where it details how it really doesn't like the cold very much, so at night time it digs and buries itself underground to stay warm while leaving its mandibles outside. Saves on feast for pitching up a tent, I suppose.
This is probably because Pinsir, like its real-life counterpart the stag beetle, are ectothermic, which basically means they're essentially cold-blooded, which ties into the fact, because of its cold-blooded nature, it prefers to live in warmer climates, so consequently it hides up in trees or buries itself underground in order to avoid the cold. Not unlike our stag beetle, eh? Now, to go over the next bit, I've got a weird and wacky segment, which I'm going to call Let's Get Ready to Tango! Interestingly, this particular insect, along with a few others like the rhinoceros beetle for example, are often used in insect fighting. This is where they're pitted against one another in single combat to the finish. Not entirely different to Pokémon battling, right? And to further link Pinsir to its real-life counterpart, in the games, Pinsir has access to a variety of fighting type moves, which is odd considering the fact that its counterpart, Heracross, is bug fighting type. Pinsir, our guest, is pure bug type. Kind of curious, isn't it?
Quick side note as well, until very recently, with the introduction of Gen 7, Pinsir was the only Pokemon that shared a resemblance with the stag beetle, a resemblance he now shares with Vikavolt. Better late than never to have a rival in the beetle business.
Now, before I go down to the card breakdown section, here's a fun little Hatter factoid for you all. Did you all know that it's largely thanks to bugs that Pokemon as a whole actually exists?
Huh?
Let me explain.
Satoshi Tajiri, the creator of Pokémon and CEO of Game Freak, used to be an avid fan of the outdoors and used to collect insects. So much so, he used to hunt for them all over the place and continually found ways to improve his skill at catching them. Much like how he train, capture and get access to better equipment in the main series games. And during the early 1990s, he saw a couple of children playing on Game Boys using link cables and stated he imagined seeing insects crawling along the cables, much like how some of the original animations of trading took place via link cables in the games. Not long after that, the initial concept for Pokémon was formed.
So essentially, we have insects to thank for one of the best franchises going. I don't know about you, I have a newfound respect for the bug type. And to show off that respect, let's break down some cards.
So, let's begin with Pinsir's very first appearance in the Jungle set, illustrated by Kagemaru Himeno. Even from the very early years of the TCG, you can really see the ferocity of Pinsir's visage. Also, note the name of its last attack, I'll come back to that in a moment. Then, we have this great piece from EX Legend Maker, designed by famed artist Mitsuhiro Urita, the artist most famously known in the TCG for the base set Charizard. That art is just beautiful, basking in the sunlight amid the forest tree line. Also, the sun being framed between Pinsir's mandibles is a great touch. Now, take a look at the last move, Overhead Toss. Side note, this move also features on Giovanni's Pinsir from Gym Challenge as well. An honourable mention goes to the illustration rare Pinsir from Twilight Masquerade because of its whimsical yet endearing artwork, and oh my god, its smile! Anyway,
now you're probably wondering, Hatter, what are you prattling on about its moves for? Just think back to the insect fighting segment from earlier. All of these moves can be likened to wrestling moves. For example, the guillotine is a type of chokehold, and the overhead toss is quite literally as it sounds. You're throwing your opponent over your head. Considering Pinsir's real-life inspiration and its insect fighting history, that's quite the clever crossover, I'd say. And that's all for Pinsir. Thank you very much for joining me for today's Teatime Tale. If you enjoyed what you saw and heard and want to see more, feel free to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell to receive all notifications. especially for when a new guest joins me for tea. Or, if you want to see more videos done by myself, feel free to check out some of my other works here. I'm sure you'll find yourself a new favourite. Until the next time, have a blessed day, and do stop by again.